There it is.
Ask and you shall receive.
Pretty good groove. I think we should just loop that for like a minute and a half. Yeah.
Get some royalty-free music or something.
No, just loop this.
It's really hard to loop because it has like the thing at the beginning. Can't have stalling. Let's go.
Yeah. It's been a while.
It has.
All right.
I mean, we could even look at YouTube and see when the last time was, but I don't think anybody has anyone ever seen this? Probably not. The other way. I have spent a bit of time shit talking people on on YouTube, so maybe they'll get drawn to my profile.
Yeah, I've thrown out a few comments there, but mine don't really associate with this, I don't think.
Well, they can click on. Well, yeah, you're anonymous, but
you don't even tag me.
I don't know who you are on YouTube because you're anonymous.
I think it's just me. You want my YouTube premium? I'll give you my YouTube premium tag right here.
You got premium?
Premium. I do, because I watch a lot of fucking YouTube.
So do I, but I use someone else's premium already.
Whose premium do you use?
I can't say. we're live.
Son of a bitch. I'm just Darren Medill 92.99. There you go. I should just change that to
so much for
tired,
being anonymous.
I didn't know we were anonymous.
Well, we're not now.
Shit.
That's all right. I was thinking we should probably like restart the channel, something else, go a little fresh, get a little crisp, put a little crisp on the edge.
Oh, tape to tape sauce.
Yeah. But
right.
So like I'm off center and you're on center. That's weird. On the stream output, I don't know if you can see it. Are you looking at it?
Yeah, but is that just like? Just seems like the cropping on the video is different.
Yeah, but it's like the aspect ratio of the video is.
That's weird.
Anyways, yeah.
Lots happened.
Yeah, I mean, the things to complain about are still there, so that's fun. I did obviously I get maybe like topics of the day if we're gonna go hockey. We could do Davo's
right fired up.
Cross check.
Right fired up.
Or the fact that Donald J. Trump is now
official
running the boat that is America.
Who wants that fucking job?
I mean, if I only had to do it for 4 years, I'd be fine. I think I could do it.
It does seem like anybody could do it at this point.
Fuck,
like
the last guy was asleep the whole time with his diapers full.
If that guy can do it, and
if Kamala thinks she can do it,
I mean, if any of these guys, like, none of these guys are.
You got to have like a pretty suspect morals. I think it's
just a popularity contest. It's all. That's all it is. Like, if people like you, you don't have to have like actually good ideas.
Well, I mean, it's even like questionable whether all the ideas come from them. Like, I'm sure they're just like you surround yourself with people that like hopefully, yeah, there's clearly a deep state, but
I think that's what turned off with that terminology though.
Well, that's what definitely roasted Donald on the first round is because he just like he got in there. And he even
said
like,
that he was like, I don't know these people.
I don't know anybody. They're all here. I guess they can work. Like, we'll see what happens. I guess it's like inheriting a company.
You have to name like 1,000 people.
Well, like if you buy a company, you just get all the slackers that are already at the company, and like you just like the first thing you do is not fire everyone unless you're Trump or Elon. I guess you can kind of do that, but
I mean that's honestly probably the best thing about how he got to it the second time. I feel like most presidents should do that. Even if you get a second term, there should be a gap, because like you start out your first 4 years, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. There's so much stuff that you don't know until you get into it. You do your 4 years, take a break for another 4 years, let someone else fuck it around, and then come back another 4 years and actually know what you have to do as soon as you get in, know who you need to bring, what you're looking at. Like, he has so much more knowledge now going into it with a 4-year period to consider everything. It's almost like it's probably the better way for someone to actually do another term.
Yeah, I mean, I find I can't stand his speeches. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like he just rambles on forever,
What
and
does he call
it
that?
doesn't make
No,
weaving.
he's weaving. Yeah. Like, but he's got a word for it. Like, he knows what he's doing.
I guess, but like, man, I lost interest. Like, it went to his speech, and I was like, I don't really care. Like, just say some wacky shit on Twitter. At least it's like 40 characters, 60 like rants and raves. He gets to the
Yeah.
point a lot quicker on Twitter, I think.
I think
But just get to the fucking point, man. Like,
my favorite is everybody saying like Elon's a Hitler Nazi now, because he went like hard, and he's like to everybody out there is like, if you just make a gesture to a large group of people, you're doing a Hitler salute. Like, I'm sorry, but you're just like, hello everybody, like Hitler salute. Oh,
X is full of that. Like Eric Trump had his hands like this.
what?
So the upside down
Like
triangle's for like it's for the Illuminati.
Was he trying to do a heart though?
But if you do anything on camera,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Like the Leo DiCaprio. Hey.
Yeah, I saw something. Like,
Yeah,
people were all like, "Oh, he didn't put his hand on the Bible," and everybody, the actual sane people, are like, "He was probably actually sworn in like yesterday officially. He put the hand on the Bible at that
What
time."
if I told you that wasn't the Bible? What if I told it was Don Quixote?
What if it was
For the Dawn? Or it's like a copy of The Art of the Deal or something.
That would be so good.
And everyone's like, hey, he didn't put his hand on it.
Same thing.
Yeah, like, you fucking morons. Like, it doesn't matter. It's a book. Like, the symbology, everyone just dissects it to the nth degree, and I'm like, just take a fucking hike, kick rocks, do something else. I get it. You have nothing better going on, dissect it, go for it, have fun.
Yep.
But it's funny. I mean, maybe, okay, I guess maybe Elon is, a Nazi supporter. Let's just run with that for a second.
Clearly, the Nazis were pretty successful at certain things.
Yeah, I mean, he's got such a track record of Nazism.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, what are they? Where are they actually going with
so
that?
So many people. Like, he
understand.
Screams at Jews all the like. What's your point? Like,
yeah, like, you got him. You guys found him out.
Giant business.
He's been hiding it this whole time, and he just waited until the inauguration, and now he's like, fuck.
It's like, no, this is just a guy who has so much money he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
He's also like he's awkward as fuck, man. Did you see him when he jumped?
Dude, he's so awkward.
Like, gravity acted in weird ways on that body.
He was so stoked on that stage, man.
I know. It's like a kid who just was playing like 5-pin bowling and knocked one of them over, and he's like, yeah.
To be honest, like, it's weird, but it's also nice to see someone excited. Like, you don't see people, especially in those settings, show like any kind of like, yeah, let's fucking do this, like any excitement whatsoever. So it's kind of refreshing to see like some passion, some like, even if you don't agree with everything that he wants to do, at least he's like excited to do it. All these other like diplomats, all these people are just like, you look in behind him at the people behind in the crowd, they're all these old fogies, all dressed the same haircut, same, like, they just, it's so boring. And then at least he's a little bit of something new.
Well, you mean Elon, obviously, not Trump.
Yeah. No, Elon.
I mean, I actually don't really like Trump, but when he goes up there and talks about like all the stuff he's gonna do, like, it's like, I'm gonna strengthen the border, I'm gonna kick out illegal immigrants, I'm going to make sure we have like cheap energy. Yeah, there's only 2 genders. We're going to get out of wars and stop having people die. I'm like, okay, so far you've had me this whole time. Like, I'm down. And
I honestly can't remember the last time I heard him say something that was like, whoa, that's way out of left field, buddy. Like, I wouldn't do that. That sounds bad
policy
for the
wise.
country. Yeah.
Policy wise, yeah. He says some ratchet shit though. That's not policy wise.
I hate Taylor Swift. But again, I don't.
That's just an opinion.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
she's got some decent hits, you know. Like, you got to at least admit that, Donald.
Yeah. Like, he's not the worst. I mean, you look at it's the same thing we're going through here, right? With fucking Trudeau just trying everything to just fuck everything up. Like,
well, I love all the takes that say that like Karina Gold is literally there to sabotage Freeland, which kind of makes sense.
What's her point? Like, what is her deal?
Freeland or Gold?
Both. Like, Gold Gold's gonna lose her own writing.
Like, Freeland is delusional,
dude. She's so to lunch, man. Like, I don't know how you can backtrack that hard and think that people are like, oh yeah, the person who's been doing this whole time. Oh, but it was just Trudeau just stepping on you the entire time. Like,
but it's honestly been Mark Carney the whole time. I wonder if the whole racket is that this is just supposed to look like a race, because like, if Christia wasn't there, no other fucker is gonna ever want this job.
Godfather.
But nobody wants this job, right? Like, they know that it's just a temporary position. So like, I don't know, unless there's got to be something, and this might hold some waters, that as soon as Mark Carney gets in, Jagmeet's like, oh, I'm good now. And then they hold on until the next election. And they were kind of hoping that the boogeyman of the U.S. was going to create an economic emergency, which he might still.
I just don't understand how, like, we as a people can't decide that we need to change this. Like, we're the ones who are getting fucked around. Like, these people all have made their money. All these people don't care about the regular people, obviously, because it all seems to just be about them trying to be the prime minister. Like, there's no actual, like, substance to anything they're doing. If they really cared about, like, the country that they're trying to actually be part of, they would put this shit aside, call an election, let the people actually who are impacted by all this decide. Like,
well, it's I mean, it's that's the nature of politics, though, right? Like, it's just that's what's happening.
Fucking trash.
But it is interesting because like why do you pay taxes? Why does everyone expect to have a job? Why does everyone just live in a house? Why do you go to like, everybody kind of subconsciously buys into the same construct, and it's all the same. Yeah. Like, this kind of like the normie lifestyle is 100% just, you just kind of brain dead do it. You're like, well, I gotta pay taxes because I'm supposed to, and then like, I gotta vote for one of two parties because I'm supposed to. Like, there are no options really. Like, you don't actually have a say. It's just kind of like they tweak a couple things here and there, and like, them not sent, like, obviously things are better than they were when like Genghis Khan was enslaving the world. I'm not gonna lie that, but like, I mean, yeah. Well, no, it's true, man. Like, I don't know. I'm sitting like in front of a TV with internet that is like 1,000 megabytes a second. You can do whatever you want as a individual, but these are the things that are permitted. Like, you're still under these permitted things that you just think that you're hot shit because you have, but everyone has them and they're all in debt for it. So I don't know. Freeland's, I mean, back to Freeland, that like, this all just seems really political theater. Like, there's nothing of substance going on here. It's just stalling. Everything about it just reeks stalling. Me. Oh,
like, what?
Mr. Speaker. Like, no one is scared of you.
He's so annoying.
You didn't even scare off the 12 Palestinian supporters. Like, they
didn't have any. They didn't have any protection. It was their own people, her own like friends, jumping on the stage to push them off.
I was like that. Like, the two people that rushed her, I was like, holy shit! Like, why isn't someone literally taking this person out? And like, people are saying, like, if this is America, that person would be getting leticillin right now. Yeah, like a super dose of it. Yeah, like, if you rushed a political candidate on the stage, I don't care what flag you have, you're probably getting shot. There's a good chance that no one will give a fuck either. They will probably just kind of push you in the corner and keep going.
These people infiltrating our country are really pissing me off.
Which people?
You people.
Yeah,
Don Cherry.
It's well, that's the thing is like I forget there was like a it was a what is a poll I guess on like whether Canadians believe that even if these people are being let in, they've been vetted properly. And I think 94% of Canadians said that they don't believe that the Canadian government can or
No,
has vetted anyone properly.
no, you can't let that many people in and vet properly. Like, I'm sorry, but that's not possible.
Well, I mean, even just like the fucking like the Palestinian thing is like,
Also, how easy is it to lie?
well, and I'm just like, what do we need like Gazan refugees? I mean, this is probably a hot take, but what do we get from having these people over here? Like as a country,
More shawarma places?
no, you don't get shit, man. Like it's literally just beneficial for the immigrant at that point. And like the fact that they come over here and protest the country,
Yeah,
I'm like immediately deported. Like, and anybody who supports them, you can sit right next to them on the ship that takes 12 months to get over there. Like, we're not
yeah,
putting you on a plane. It's going to be like an animal cargo for a zoo that's retired. Like, you're
yeah.
just going to go back low and slow.
Like, there is a price for having your freedom here, and freedom doesn't mean you can just go and complain about the country that you literally fled to.
Yeah, like
It's like that doesn't work that way. Like,
come here and be like. It sucks to be where you were for sure. Like Gaza war
but why
zone,
would you
any
want to
war
make
zone.
here like that?
Exactly. Like just leave that shit there then. Like at the
Yeah,
very least, don't bring your shit here.
yeah.
Like if
Like,
you
did you see
actually wanted
that?
to get away, then just fucking get away. Don't make everyone else suffer through it.
Well, did you see that one video I've seen going around a little bit of the East
A
Asian
lot of
guy?
videos.
No, there's this East Asian guy who was like talking about why East Asians are the most like hated group in Canada, and it was him talking about his own group of people, and it was
Like
basically
what?
saying
Like
like,
Filipinos and Asians? Like they're not
no,
the
like
most hated.
East Indians are like East Asians.
Like from India.
Yeah, but he said East Asian because I think that's technically what they are.
Well,
But
like the continent of Asia is huge, so it encompasses a lot of different cultures and people. So I
that's
guess
what he said. Anyways, he was talking about pretty much all the things we're saying. Like, we're
like
hated
Middle East
because we
people
come.
or
He said East Asian. He's an East Indian looking fellow. I don't know.
like Pakistan.
Yeah.
Okay.
He basically said, like, when we come here, we don't join in the culture here. We try to push our culture on everybody else. And we say, well, why don't you understand our culture? And we say, well, why don't you understand that we need to set off fireworks at fucking midnight, even though there's a sound curfew? Why don't you understand that, like, all these different things?
Well, that's not
And
all of them. Like that's for sure is not all of
no,
them.
but it
There's definitely
contributes to the general off-putting of that whole culture because, like, it's hard to differentiate.
no, I get that. And like, but the main problem isn't even though like people from the Middle East or East Asia or whatever. It's like I wouldn't even say that's. It's just the fact that like we took so many from one spot. Like the thing, if you take a critical mass, and I don't know what that number is, but if they're all from the same region, there's no incentive to assimilate at all because you go and live where your family and friends are, and like you don't have to do anything Canadian wise. I'm
Yeah,
like, and even if that was just like the case, like so what? Like like we grew up in Edmonton. There's Mill Woods. A lot of people from India migrated to Mill Woods, and like they would just live around each other. But there was still none of this bullshit going on because it was
yeah,
low and slow. You had time to assimilate. You had time to and like assimilate's like the word that is the antithesis of globalization. Like everyone was like, oh, we just need like this big melting pot where everyone just does their thing and respectfully gets along. Like sure, that's a pipe dream though because proof is that not everyone just gets along and does their thing. They all want everyone else to be like them,
yeah,
which is the same for Canada. But I'm like, I don't go to another country and say, why isn't this like Canada?
mm-hmm.
Like, if I go to Japan, it's because I'm going to Japan. I don't do Canadian things there. Maybe I speak English because I don't
Well, and like
speak
for some
Japanese.
reason,
But
doing that in a place like Japan, they don't put up with that kind of shit. Like,
No, they'll
If you,
turn off their
they're very
visas. Like,
respectful. They're very like, you adhere to how we do things, or you're not like, it's not going to happen. And there's lots of countries like that, and they for some reason are respected because of that. Whereas, places like Canada, a little bit in the States, but definitely mostly here, it's like a fucking free for all.
well, it's like considered xenophobic to say what we're saying, really.
Yeah, definitely
And, like,
demonetized.
but like phobic is a fear of something you don't know. I don't fear it. We know it. The
Yeah,
problem is it's disruptive. And it like a lot of people, like very sensible people, um, were interviewed even in Brampton, which has like a very, very high concentration of East Indian immigrants. Um, and they're
well,
like,
that's where
there's
this
too
guy
many
was
Indian
from.
people here. Like,
Yeah,
there's too many Indians here. Because they like, why on earth would you leave India to just be surrounded by thousands of Indians who are
yeah,
just like all of a sudden bringing their shit here with them too? Like,
yeah.
this is the land of Tim Hortons snow, moose, maple syrup.
Well,
And
and
like we
like,
used to be patriotic about like our own identity, but like what is our identity anymore? What is Canada?
the thing that bugs me is just there's no respect for other people. Like from that culture just is not respectful of other people. They look at
Generally
like,
speaking.
yeah, obviously,
You
but
gotta
like,
put the caveat in there.
yeah, because like it really stood out when we went like shopping for Christmas. You go to a mall. We like went to Southgate, and it was just like I couldn't find another person that looked like me. Like I walking around, and they just walk into you. Like I have a stroller and 3 kids, and they couldn't care less that you're there. They just walk around. They don't like. They walk wherever they want to walk. They don't look at you. They don't care where you're going. They don't get out of the way. It's like, and it's the same for driving. I mean,
No, and that's the thing is like in our own lifetime, we're not that old. Like things have changed drastically in the last decade. So it's
mhm.
like even if it was like an adjustment that was good to make, like most Albertans, let's just say, do not have the most rich cultural experience, like at least historically. But now it's like, holy shit, like everywhere is everywhere on the planet. Like,
Yeah, but it's not even like, it's not. There's lots of other cultures that are here, but they generally, like, I've ran into a lot of like like Asian peoples of, like, Thailand, all those like that kind of Asian, and
West Asian.
generally they like to be here. They know why they came here. They came here for a better life, a different life, and generally they try to do their best to just kind of like, they can bring their heritage and stuff, and you see a lot of that in like, restaurants and stuff that open. Like we have a lot of bubble tea spots now, which is fine, but it doesn't feel like in your face, and they generally kind of stay to themselves. But
Yeah.
like I don't see any parades about Thailand. Like there's always been that whole like thing with China taking over Thailand, right? Not Thailand, what is it? Taiwan?
It's Taiwan, yeah.
And you don't see like protests, you don't see things in the streets of like, oh, save Taiwan. You don't see stuff like that because they're here now. They're not there. Whereas with these other groups, you're seeing, oh, pro Palestine, oh, we're going to drive slowly around the Henday and disrupt traffic. And they can't do anything about it because that would be racist. Oh, we're going to close off places downtown to have a protest of this. In, I think, Toronto, there's like literal like pro Hamas meetings that were like scheduled to happen, and they can't even really do anything about it because it's like, again, this whole racist thing of like, oh, you can't let people like, it's gotten ridiculous.
Well, it's
Like,
the same thing as like that stuff I was sending you is like, um, where like in the UK they were going through like that reconciliation phase where it was like if you tried to defend your daughter from being raped or groomed, you were charged and everyone else was let go. Like, And they were trying to say, well, it's not like a single group and it was a fucking single group of people from a certain part of the world that
Yeah.
were by and large participating in that. And like they were just shoveling it. And like that's the thing is like for some reason, if a group is responsible for something, it's only white people. It's only, like the old boys club that you can scrutinize for actions as a whole, but everyone else just gets a pass. Like it's just like, well, they're not all that bad. But I'm like, well, maybe you should
When the
apply that
stats
same
say that, like, majority are like these things didn't happen before this, so clearly there's like a line in the sand you can statistically look at as a point where like, okay, this started to happen after this. It's not like just a coincidence. Like those stats that, what is it, the one you sent me of like the most acts committed by, what was it?
I was on Twitter, but I'll bring up Twitter or X.
Yeah. And Europe's had a problem with that for a long time. Like I even remember that being an issue in like Germany and Europe like 5 years ago. Like that's been a big problem for them. And they've had a lot of immigrants from that even before we got a lot from that. And I don't know. There comes a point when it's like, come on. Like if you're coming here, come here and participate and don't bring the shit you left. We don't want it. We were fine just doing us. We didn't need your shit here. And if you came here to bring your shit, then fucking leave.
Yeah, but nobody's going to leave and nobody's going to do anything about it. But I think like obviously that's why it seems so harsh now, because the corrective action is to course correct, right? So it's like at a certain point, all the people that were like applauding for what Trudeau was doing under his, basically open borders, it was like everything in Canada was just absolutely cucked by, like this mindset of everything is permitted except for civil obedience, or like the normies. Like everything that had to do with the normies, the middle class, was punished. So if you're just a normal consumer, you pay an extra tax. If you're an immigrant, you get a bonus. If you're homeless, it doesn't matter. Like you're fine, you're good. Like it was literally in a and maybe this is a hot take, but I don't really care. But like it's a concerted effort to turn everything on its end, to add a good healthy dose of chaos, so that people don't know what is permitted to think, what is permitted to do, because at any given moment, what seems to make sense is the thing that isn't permitted, and then the thing that doesn't make any fucking sense is totally allowed. So like you create enough confusion and people can't organize around ideas, and then all of a sudden they're dependent on the authority to tell them what to do. They just become like sheep. So it's just like it's hard to say that that's intentional, but fuck it, I'm saying it's intentional. Like because there's no other way to do that, because you really have to check your brain at the door and be like, no, Hamas and all these other pro-Palestine can like set things on fire and burn down Montreal. They can do whatever they want. We're not going to freeze any bank accounts. We're not even going to arrest anyone. We're not even going to put police out there.
But the truckers will freeze their bank account.
As soon as they show up, and agreed, they were there for a long time. They were there for a long time.
But like literally,
day, no
martial law for that, when no damage was done.
Nobody said like, death to Canada, death to the United States. And
there's people literally burning like Canadian flags, and they're allowed to say their disappointment.
They wouldn't even label that Sunny Parks or whatever. Like I can't remember the name of the group that's super pro Palestine. Well, it's like Sunny something.
Sunny Ways.
Yeah, that guy. But I'm just saying, like they were literally like, we are Hamas, we are Hezbollah. Like literally,
how does that not get you punted?
I know, like you are gone. Like
where's the line? Like there's no line.
You can't wave a Canadian flag, but you can burn one and like threaten the death of everyone. Or like that, I think I sent you that video that people saying like, this is our country now, go back to Europe. Like literally 100,000 Sikh dudes in Vancouver, like literally just stomping around.
Yeah.
I was like,
I can't tell.
Holy shit.
Are you still just like off screen right now? Like, is that what's actually showing? There's half your face.
Oh yeah, I guess. Whoops. Rookie.
The other way. There you go. Just awkwardly just seeing one half of your face that's not talking the whole time.
I'm Two-Face.
But like, yeah, at this point,
I'm not gonna lie, the setup's a little rickety.
This point, there almost needs to be like, I mean, there's got to be some harsh realities, and you can't really slow play it. Like, you can't slow play this backwards. Like, it's got to be pretty like, we're stopping this now and we're working backwards. Like, it's a runaway train, and anybody who's running for the Liberal Party is just going to be like, I know Pierre is kind of sounding a little bit corny now, which is annoying because he just keeps saying the same, like, oh, carbon tax this. Like, he keeps like reiterating that almost too much. It's like, we get it. We know your stance on these people. We understand that they're for the carbon tax. Like, we're generally not stupid. At least, like, I'm not. You're not. But like, we don't need it told to us that much. Like, even in the same speech, you're referring to them at that as multiple times. Like, just say it once. Like, they still want the carbon tax. They want to up the carbon tax. They think it's the best idea ever. Except for Freeland. She's all like, oh, we might like restructure a little bit. When she said, like, we have heard Canadians, and the general consensus is they don't like it. It's like,
where was that fucking year and a half ago, you bitch?
We've been saying that before. Like, nobody said, hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Which Randy out there was like, oh, I actually kind of like it.
And just
I'm really saving my emissions. No, you're not, you fucking idiot.
That you're getting back more than you're paying doesn't make any sense.
Well, I don't know. Like, Pierre's obviously got like a group think kind of mental, or like a, what would it be called? Like a test group that he kind of like trials stuff with. And maybe the demographics are kind of weird on that one, where they're like, no, it's a good to kind of stay the course, you know. Where I'm like,
just say it once.
I just want you to realize that the times have changed, and the enemy is not really Justin Trudeau at this point. Like, he's literally put his dunce cap on in front of everyone and said, I'm a non-thing. I don't exist. So like,
he still managed to send a big fuck you to the country on his way out, though.
Well, would you expect anything less from the Boy King?
No, which leads me to not believe a single thing he fucking said when he said he was leaving. Like, if he ever says anything along the lines of, oh, I'm doing what's best for Canadians, no, you're fucking not. If you're doing what's best for Canadians, you would say, I'm calling an election now, and I won't be running. And the Liberal Party is just going to have to pick a new person right now, because Canadians have had enough of this waiting shit. And
just go down with the ship. Just do the election as yourself. Be the absolute Boy King and just see how you fare, you know, set sails. Because like, do what everyone else does and just get elected out.
Like, I would be shocked if the Liberal Party won again for the next few years. Like,
what? Like, honestly, how do any of them think they could? Like, how do you come back from this?
Like, because all the people running are close to Trudeau. They're close to what has happened for the past decade. They're close to it. Freeland was the deputy prime minister. Like, she was right there. And Mark Carney
was like right Tinkerbell, sitting on his shoulder.
And the fact that people forget and just glance over the fact that Mark Carney is a fucking billionaire who opposed pipelines here and then invested heavily in pipelines elsewhere because ours weren't on. So it's like, you know, of course you're going to make more over there because we can't use ours here because you're stopping them. Like, there's so much shit this guy's pulled.
That's what I mean. Like, there's probably backroom stuff with like the Koch brothers. Like,
there's
like
so much backroom stuff.
America like pressures environmental groups to protest Canadians. Like,
Yeah.
Like there's so many things that just like the public's like, I don't think that's actually happening. But I'm like, have you ever seen House of Cards? Have you ever like this is
Oh
like
man,
almost a
there's so
documentary.
much. There's
They're
so
all
much.
there's just wheeling and dealing and lobbying and like and coercion, blackmail. Like it's corruption to its
Oh,
core.
and it shows so much more in the Liberal Party. Like it just, and it starts from these rich people who are running the country.
Well, that's
Like,
the thing is like you don't get corruption if you're the opposition because no one's interested. Like
yeah.
like you maybe do up to the election because now all of a sudden people see the winds changing. They're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna jump like Zuckerberg. They literally zuck themselves out and like, they're like, no, we're cool now. Where I'm a bro, right?
I
Like,
do jujitsu. I'm cool.
yeah, I wear a chain and I'm like I'm hip. We got some mask energy, boys.
man.
What's up, boys? Like literally like
I
2
mean, I'm
months
all for
ago,
people
he's like
getting paid, but,
lattes and espressos and like putting slippers at the door and making sure the towel's warm right out of the dryer for everyone. Like, fucking hell, bud, you've turned faster than like somebody spinning out in the snow.
But you also, you can't fault people like that because it's like I at least understand that is a business. You're running a business. Your goal is to make money. I get that. Like, fine. You got to go with the ship you're sailing on, and if you know your ship is changing, you better at least change to fit the narrative. Like that at least makes sense. But like, oh man, like it's just
Was talking out two sides of their face, right? Like no matter what, and even now, it's like so now you are listening to the people. Now you care, and now you're changing all your positions. Now all of a sudden it matters. And
oh,
like
now
people,
you left 3 days after you're being fired. Like,
well, I wouldn't fire someone right after I told him to like get literally sandbagged with this.
Yeah.
And like
I stood in his face and I said I'm leaving. Like I like no,
yeah, you really
like,
showed him what like
y'all fucked up. He tried to hang it on you. I'll give it to you. You were a little bit smart trying to get ahead of that by a couple days. But
basically, like, you guys knew this was dog shit the whole time, and then when you found out you were gonna get saddled with it, you said no, and you left.
Yeah.
Like, how strong are you again? Like, why don't you tell us how like brave and absolutely stunning that was? Like, give me a break.
And just like I haven't listened to much of Mark Carney, but the stuff I have heard, I'm like, you're talking out of your fucking ass, dude. Like, you're just a businessman. Like,
the thing is, like, he's just an installed leader. Like, he's going to win the race. Like, Christia's her like launch party. I was like, all right, have fun.
Like what, a school gym?
No, but even then, I'm like, nobody wants you, and it's maybe hard to hear, but like, fuck off. Like,
you got a smaller podium or something. Like, you have to get a box.
I mean, my Twitter is full of everyone like, Carney's so accomplished. Carney has so many credentials.
That's all I see too.
He's gonna be the hero, and I'm like, where did all these bots come from? Like, did the rocks get lifted? Did somebody like chop up a bunch of wood in the forest and all the little critters just like they come out in droves? I was like, where were all these people? They were literally saying, Trudeau, choose our man. He's gonna do it. No one can. And all of a sudden, like, Trudeau's like, I quit. And then now all of a sudden, Carney's like, he gets a little bit of sunlight on his face, and like, oh my god, it's our savior.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's not going to do anything that hasn't already been done, aka because he already fucking did it. He has been implicated in everything. He actually, I mean, I know it's a slogan, but he is just like Trudeau. Like, he is. Fucking loser. I hope they lose official party status, and like, I just hope that there is some catastrophic blunder that whoever even wins, or this lawsuit that goes through.
What lawsuit?
Well, they're suing about the prorogation.
Oh, I saw the headlines. I didn't think that was like an actual thing.
The judge expedited the hearing until like February. But like, I think even if it does go through, it'll chop a couple days off, which would be kind of funny because like, then what? What do you do? Who's your leader? Yeah. Do you have a leader?
I like just don't have a leader. Like, you just fucking suck. Nobody likes you.
Well, yeah, like the block will take your job right now and like start running for the block.
Oh god.
But that's the other thing is like this whole thing with Daniel Smith and like everything
they're
she says.
villainizing her so hard.
And I guess, like, sure, but like literally everything has been done by Quebec for, like, oh, they're gonna take their
But
pensions
it's
away.
not
And I'm
even
like,
like
Quebec does that.
But it's not even. It's nonsense though, because they keep saying like, "Oh, she's trying to sell Canada out." It's like, no, like Alberta is the biggest resource in Canada. Like, I don't care who you are, get over yourself. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And if it wasn't that way, then the equalization payments wouldn't be so freaking crazy against us. Like, the numbers and everything say that, okay? So like, we are the biggest number one bargaining chip with the states. Like, that's the way it is. Okay? Like, that's land space. That's just factual. Okay? So like, this whole like, oh, she's trying to like sell, Alberta doesn't want to stand for Canada. Oh, we're not all team Canada.
Canada doesn't stand
Like,
for Alberta. It never
we've literally
has.
like, my entire life, I've never known a time when it was team Canada. It was the rest of Canada, then Alberta generally.
Yeah, and it's not like things are bad in Alberta. I don't think anybody's saying that. Like, nobody's like, oh, Alberta is so hard done by. We're not. We're not saying that. But at the same time, Canada does not give a shit about Alberta.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense.
It's like
what I just
daddy's
said.
wallet.
Yeah.
Like that's all they care about is all of a sudden like.
And then when they get in trouble, the rest of Canada gets in trouble. It's like, oh no, it's that guy's fault. It's like, we're trying to fucking save this thing, you son of a bitch. Like,
well, the other thing is, it was scapegoating because the actual issue was fentanyl and illegal immigration coming in from Canada. I was like, wait a second, are we just like completely missing or forgetting or intentionally dodging the fact that we were just asked to clean up these important aspects about our own national security? So like, anything we do to improve the US situation with drugs and immigration improves our situation with drugs and immigration. Like, since when is that a bad fucking idea? And if it was actually Team Canada, Doug Ford, you fuck, why wouldn't you be suggesting things that were good for Canada, like
also,
cleaning up drugs and immigration?
His brother died. Like, how did that happen?
But like, Canadians care about drugs and immigration too, or like illegal immigration. Like, why couldn't you just be like, oh, that's a good point? Like, it's like when they say you're not spending enough on NATO. We're not spending enough on it. Like, these are just things that are factually true. At the end of the day, you might have to deal with
our
them.
defense spending is garbage.
It's like less than fucking Zimbabwe or whatever. And they're not even in NATO.
Like, we're pathetic in a lot of ways. Like, our entertainment is generally dog shit. We only
Except
watch
for Letterkenny.
Yeah, but that's a
north, north of North.
That's a YouTube. Like, that's
I'm just kidding.
It's just, and the fact that we have to have like all these rules for like, oh, you have to have this amount of Canadian media. That's the only reason why it's supported. It's like, why isn't it supported just because it's fucking good?
Yeah, but that's the reason why we have all this shit is the Laurentians. Like, everybody who lives along the St. Lawrence River, aka Ottawa and Quebec and Montreal, and all these places that have these old boys clubs, and they just live under these rocks and they control and pull strings on everything. They influence the culture, they influence the taxes, they influence the policy, they influence the tribunals, they influence the Senate, they influence politics. Like, it's all controlled by like that in that one little corridor of Canada, and everyone else can kick fucking rocks. And like, at the end of the day, do any of those people have anything in common with like 90% of the country? No, they don't. You think Trust Fund Trudeau has got anything in common with you or me or anybody else?
So fucking out of touch. Like, and that's another thing. Like, Mark Carney's going to be another out of touch guy who doesn't understand that people can't go to go shopping for less than $100. Like, it's gotten to the point where going to McDonald's costs less than going to get groceries to make a dinner. Like,
well, I picked up
that's ridiculous.
5 things at the grocery store and it was $75.
And it's not like super high quality stuff. Like, I'm not going to fucking the organic market and getting something made in Japan and shot over here in like, super hyperbaric chamber. Like, half of the produce I get is garbage.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, Canada has just gotten so shitty. Like, and I forget who was saying like, it's a lost decade. Like, we've literally had a lost decade.
Yeah.
Where Canada has sunk while everyone else has maybe grown a little bit or a lot, and Canada has gone back like 45 steps backwards.
Yeah.
It's more expensive. It's shittier. Like, we haven't even started talking about healthcare or education, because those are other things that are like also on the feds, and they've fucked
and
up royally.
Canadian talent, like people who are like come from Canada, they're amazing doctors, they're amazing surgeons, they're amazing researchers, they're take your pick. They're entrepreneurs, they're this or that, they're this or that. They move to the States. Like literally anybody who's made it in Canada lives in the States because it costs them less, they make more, and
they got a Second Amendment.
And they got a Second Amendment. Like, there's so many like people that you find out later in life that are Canadian when you're just like watching American TV or American this or American that are like from Canada, and it's like they're there because they left here because it's not made for people like that. Like, it's not made. Canada's not made for people to get ahead. Like, it's
it's like you just made to like kick the can down the road in Canada. Yeah. It's essentially
made for mediocrity.
It is, and at the end of the day, you're also like we literally punish ingenuity. I know O'Leary's a bit of a buffoon, but man, like, he does make some like at least bombastic, if not inaccurate, probably somewhat okay points.
But he's literally our only like lobbyist. He's the only guy you hear who is like someone from the States knows and someone from Canada knows. This business guy from Canada, he's the only guy who's like trying to actually lobby for a Canadian. Like,
well, that's the thing is, like, in Canada, like, how are positions of Daniel Smith sounding so wild? How is Kevin O'Leary's position so wild? Like, in other places, especially in the States, somebody's sticking up for and saying, we got good shit here. It should be it should be used, it should be developed, it should be, and everyone's like, oh,
it should be transported easily.
Quiet, don't say that. It's gonna, like, we can't do that. And like they're literally like bleeding over it. And I'm like, you want 400,000 immigrants to come to this country every year. Why the fuck would they want to come here? Like, you haven't done anything to make this country good.
And it costs so much to live in these places. Like Vancouver, Ontario, like these places are abhorrent. Like, they're in, like, nobody can live there. I don't know how they do it. I honestly don't.
Yeah, like if you don't have like a 6-figure job.
Which
more.
A lot of people don't have.
Even like low six figures is nothing. Like, you're still you're not getting ahead. You're just paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to just be in a place that costs enough that you can't afford it.
Yeah.
You get a car, you get a house, you're fucked already. Like, you can't pay for that.
You can't even do that.
Oh, wait, you got student loans? Fuck you even more.
If you and I didn't know people, we would not own houses.
Yeah, exactly.
We would not.
No, it's just...
And those people that we know are from before the country was fucked.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I don't think Pierre's like a pure savior, but like, he's definitely got way better ideas. And like, even the fact that he's kind of touting recently like a Department of Governmental Efficiency.
He's
like
at least the beginning of a correction. Like, the annoying thing is that if he can't do it in 4 years,
all the morons are going to vote for something else.
Yeah.
Like
it's we would have been so, like, if the fact that he called that election in the middle of the fucking pandemic fucked us so hard.
Well, because it was a power grab.
I know.
It was
people
only good
scared.
for him.
They're not going to like vote for change when people don't even know what's going to happen like next month, or if they're going to get COVID and die. Like,
but if that doesn't tell you how the system operates, when everybody wants an election, you don't get one. When nobody wants it, you have one. So guess what, fucks? Like, nobody gives a shit about Canada. Your feds do not give a shit about you. And even if somebody tells me that they actually do in a way that sounds meaningful, I guess I'm gonna go with that for a little bit. But like, I still don't really believe it. Like, I don't believe it's long term. I don't believe it's anything but lip service. But at least for fuck's sake, it's gonna get us in a direction that isn't just skewered even more.
Yeah, it's so frustrating because you see all these other places with not even the amount of resources that we have flourishing like crazy, using the resources that they have. Like that is like that's Settlers of Catan or any of those strategy games 101. You use what you have. Why do you block what you have? That makes no sense.
That's why we need some, like, I'm not a proponent of becoming a state, but I'm like, we need something so disruptive that it forces unconventional change, because as long as you just,
Dude,
like,
can you imagine if we
mediocre
were on
tipping,
the US dollar?
yeah.
That'd
Well,
be
like,
insane.
Jamie Poissant from like the CBC Front Burner, she had Kevin O'Leary on the show. You should probably listen to it. It's kind of funny because like
I have heard some of it actually.
She usually has very softball hosts or guests on her show. And also, I think I caught a little bit of that. The CBC does not have comments on their YouTube, which is hilarious. Cause I'm like this
a country run thing has the comments turned off.
Well, and like Peterson always said, he's just like, you like, even if you were trying to be successful, you have to turn that on because you build community around comments. Even if it's negative, you get people engaging with each other. You build a audience when you do that. If I
can't remember
I'm just
the last
like
time I
bouncing off the CBC.
The last time I cared about the CBC was because Schitt's Creek, and now I can get that elsewhere, so it's fine.
But even then, like, I forget what where was I going with that? She was talking about, because O'Leary's like talking about this economic union. He's like, I'm not talking about losing our sovereignty. I'm talking about switching over to the US dollar, about like doing like a bunch of things that are economically savvy.
Which makes sense.
And she's like, well, like, why would the Americans do that? They would, like, they're getting a discount now. But he's like, you fucking idiot. That's not how it works. We price everything we sell to them in US dollars. The price doesn't change for them.
Yeah.
Like, if it's $56 a barrel.
For us.
Exactly. Like, it just becomes $56. And she's like, well, what about all this money in my TFSA? And we're like, well, there'd be negotiations. She's like, well, wouldn't that just sewer my account? Like, what, am I going to get 30% less value? Like, even
you'd get more.
But even then, if you can do this, by the way, is just buy American stocks with Canadian dollars. Guess what happens? So basically, if the negotiation was there's no exchange fee for everyone who has Canadian dollars when we switch to the US, you fucking win. You become now the most in demand. Because like the only reason why you lose is because you pay to have your fees exchanged. It's all equal values to each other. There's $1 Canadian worth this much. Where you get hosed is the transaction fee.
It honestly doesn't even make sense that we're on a different dollar. Like, being as close as we are and trading as much as we do, it doesn't make sense.
The fucking Bahamas is on the US dollar.
Well, and you can go to Mexico and pay in US dollars. Like,
but it's like Canadian stubbornness for brain dead reasons is our own problem. Like, we have gripes, but nobody's willing to go with solutions because honestly, we are such a melting pot. No one could really agree with what is a solution. So that's why I think, like, honestly, we are going to have more separatist sentiment because people are going to have to rely on the like tighter geographic constraints to find solidarity with other people. Like, Quebec has no problem saying Quebec first. Quebec, we are the best.
They've always been Quebec
because but they have a identity.
Yeah.
Alberta is getting a stronger identity, and I think there are people from Vancouver and like all these other places that are like, we like, they're bringing their ideologies with them.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you here then?
Yeah.
If you don't like the way Alberta does things, guess what? You have cheaper properties.
You
have better jobs. Yeah, like, you came here for the good shit. Guess where that good shit came from?
Yeah.
The policies that you're now griping about, dumbass. Like, fuck right off. Like, you can't have your cake and your icing too. And if you want that, then just fucking go with it. It's good because it's good.
Because, like, normally with the issues that we have, the issues that Canada has right now, like financially, culturally, all that stuff, usually comes from a country that doesn't have space, doesn't have resources, is reliant on other places for resources. That's the kind of problems that we're having. But you're like, we have resources, we have so much space, we have all this stuff, and we just can't use it. We don't use our own, like, there's no way that we should be paying more for gas, especially in Alberta, than the the States. There's no way.
But the thing is, we've been griping about sovereignty as if it's something that's like inherent. But like the reason why we pay more for everything is because we don't have sovereignty. We have coercion, oligopoly. We have corruption and lobbyists that are even more embedded in, because Canada is generally apathetic, especially politically, until you get to Palestine or some other fucking cause that nobody gives a shit about. Like the trucker protest was probably the only time in recent memory I've ever seen Canadians, born and bred Canadians, 30 plus years, 20 plus years. Let's just call it that. Let's just say that that's a Canadian. You've been here for 20 fucking years or more.
Yeah.
Now, I don't really think that anybody who's come here in the last decade, I wouldn't call them a Canadian, because they have just been siloed. There's been no national identity. There used to be a test of like, what's a Canadian value? You had to answer that question. Now it's just like, hey, come on in. How about a Canada Goose jacket, and maybe you can buy some.
Bud.
Yeah, exactly. Don't bother paying it back. And by the way, if you have any sick relatives with you, come on over. We'll just pay for their health care.
Yeah.
And like, oh wait, shit, the healthcare has killed 74,000 people, and we're waiting for healthcare. And it's not the healthcare's, like, people in healthcare, the actual physicians, nurses, staff, they don't fucking want that. They're not trying to kill people. It's the absolute dumb fuckery of the people in charge, the administration.
Yeah.
Which is the feds, which is the provinces in a lot of ways.
Yep.
But the feds they dictate how the provinces work things. So like, well, here's your money if you do this. So like, it's not just the provinces.
I mean, you don't even have to look far to find like the use of financial corruption in so many places. Like just look at that stupid ArriveCan app. Like, how that alone doesn't get you fired and jailed as a prime minister and resign in disgrace, I don't know how. Like, you literally gave millions of dollars to two fucking guys who said they could build an app, and then it took them 3 months to do it, and just made millions of dollars. What the fuck?
I know. Like, if you want to make money in Canada, you get into the public sector. It's grown at 30% compared to private sector over the past, coincidentally, 9 years.
And that's like, that is where you need an Elon Musk. That is where you need someone who is, their business doesn't make money based on taking time. Like, and you can see it in our construction. You can see it in our public sector construction, our LRTs, our anything that is government related. The companies know they can milk the shit out of it, because and that's part of the reason why I hate like how everything is based on like manpower hours. There's no incentive to do it fast. There's no incentive to do something efficient when it's based on the length of time you can do it. You get paid more. There's no one, like, if I can do the same job in 4 hours, but I'm only going to get paid if I stay for an 8-hour day, I have no incentive to do that thing in 4 hours.
Or you just have to get someone a bottle of Johnny Walker Black Label, and then all of a sudden, oh, my company now has millions of dollars of contracts that lock me up with work for the next 2 years.
Yep.
Well, Polyev has talked about that too. He's like, like if I'm going to pay somebody to do something, their quote has to be accurate, and if it's not complete, they don't get paid anything. There's no overages. You don't get to run over on costs.
Yeah.
Like, you make sure that quote covers what it is, and then you win that quote, and you do it with that quote. And unless there's extreme circumstances, fucking kick rocks. You're not making any money.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is like, and everyone says, well, the private, capitalism is so bad. I'm like, it chooses who wins and succeeds by who is the most honest and who's willing to provide. Like, obviously, the main thing that needs to be in a capitalist society, and it's probably the best system we have, even though it doesn't work perfectly, but like, informed consumers making informed choices. Like, that's the main thing that happens where people have a problem with it, is they're not informed. The information is wrong. Now you're off camera.
No, I'm not.
What are you looking at? Yes, you are.
According to mine, I'm like right in the middle. Like, my hands are off, but I'm not.
Maybe. Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know. This could get out of hand. This could get really out of hand.
I mean, all we can hope for is like some semblance of change, and sooner the better.
Well, the things are already changing, and that's what I mean. Like, Biden didn't force change in Canadian politics, but Trump wasn't even president yet, and like already everyone's heads are over their asses.
That's so smart. Like, say what you want about the guy, but he's not a dummy.
But that's what I like. I mean, the ingredient here that was always missing and Trump brings in spades is chaos. Like, it's chaotic. Like, oh, I'll bring tariffs. When? Who? Why? Like, everyone
you need a touch of not giving a fuck about people's feelings. You need that. Like, you can't run a country if you're caring about everybody's fucking feelings. Like, I'm sorry, but your feelings do not decide the fate of the country. They do not decide how much gas costs. Like, your feelings are your own. Fucking deal with them. They don't influence what affects the whole country. Like, you need someone who gives a little bit less shits. Trudeau tried to care about everybody's fucking feelings. Oh, I'm a feminist, but I'm gonna fire all the people that I hired as
like 6 women.
Like, you the whole 2015, like, it's 50-50. It's 2015. It's 50-50 cabinet. Where are they? They
That's
fucking hate your guts.
People have gotten so used to what sounds good, and they don't know what actually is good anymore. It's all relative.
Yeah.
But it's just like, this is demagoguery at its finest. Like, it's just us versus them, groupthink. It's all of the probably the worst aspects. And like, it's not like the conservative side of things aren't deploying some of their own same, like, us versus them. That definitely happens. I'm not sticking my head in the sand saying that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But the woke ideology at least isn't part of the mix. And like, if there is an us versus them, at least it's based on things that are more objective. So like, at the end of the day, I'd rather have objective, observable, repeatable, empirical evidence behind the decisions being made, instead of fantastical claims of imagined grievances and like all of this victim what's the word, victim complexes, or who can win the victim Olympics. Like, like, we've had years of that. And it's like, the thing is, it's an insane dose of compassion that's fake, false, and it's not actually helping the people who are being labeled as victims, and it's making things worse for everyone en masse. And I think that has been very clear with Biden, fucking Gavin Newsom with the fires, and Justin Trudeau. And we got Jagmeet Singh cheering fucking JT the whole way down the aisle.
Such a plebe.
Oh, I can't decide who I can't stand more. Like, this Trudeau show would have been over a long time ago if it wasn't for that guy. And what is he literally is the dumbest politician on the planet. He got nothing for it. What has he got from the Liberals for everything? He got dental care. Is that what he got?
I imagine he made a bunch of money one way or the other. I'm sure he's made money. That it always comes down to money.
But then again, he's a fucking socialist.
Yeah.
Like, and people, how can you vote for this guy? He's supposed to be like a all for one, one for all, right? Like, isn't he the champion of the socialists? Is that what socialism gets you? Take a fucking lesson, everyone. Write this down. That is what socialism gets you. You have people telling you things that they aren't doing themselves, and they lie to your face, and you gobble it right up.
Yep.
Like, fucking hell, man. Get me fucking tilted already.
Oh, I know.
Oh, losing my mind.
I don't know. There's lots of stuff that's gotten me fucking fired up. It's just, and it sucks because there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you just have to wait for your opportunity to put a little check mark on a box and hope that it does something. Like, democracy is great and all, but like, God, it's so slow.
Have you watched Captain Fantastic?
No.
Do it. It's on Netflix right now, but it's a really, really interesting movie with Viggo Mortensen. It's an old one. It's really good.
I think I've heard of it.
Well, he's just like this guy who's raising like 8 kids in the forest. He's like teaching them himself, like very traditional, but also like enlightened, I would say, way of living.
Mm-hmm.
And also just like kind of like unsustainable in its own way, but like trying to just dodge the system, but also be genuine. And it's mostly just about like the most important thing in life is like your family and all this other stuff. It was like very interesting because like this guy is super aware of how fucked everything is. And he teaches his kids, he doesn't lie to them about anything. He's like, no, the world is out to get you. These are like the ways that you avoid this. And they're all young. Like, and he just like doesn't hold any punches.
Mm-hmm.
And Vigo does. I think he got an Academy Award nomination for it. But like, it's such a interesting take, an interesting movie. I would say watch it. Tell me what you think. Captain Fantastic. I thought it was written based on a book, but it's not. It's just a movie.
I will have to put that on my list.
It just like made me think about a lot of things. But we should probably think about wrapping it up here. I don't know. It's about an hour. No one's watching this anyways.
We at least got to touch on hockey a little bit.
Well, I got to pee, so you think about that, and I'll be right back.
You're just pausing it now?
No, I'll just leave.
Just live? Just live while you go take a fucking leave? Make her snappy, bud. Just looking up Captain Fantastic. Oh, yeah. I've definitely seen clips of this one. I'll add that to the list. Well, while he's off taking a pee, I'll just talk to myself. I mean, politics aside, I guess we'll leave that one until we get more movement on what the heck's going on with that. And talk a little bit what else is firing us up lately, which is the Edmonton Oilers and probably the Canucks. Because it seems like the Canucks is now our main rival, and Calgary is pretty much shitting the bed enough that we don't really have to care too much about what they're doing. And
just filling the space.
Yeah, just getting the land set for a little Oilers talk. already finished one. Basically saying that it seems like now Oilers' main rival is the fucking knuckleheads. Because
a rival who's not going to even make the playoffs. I don't know about that one.
Because everybody knew that last season was an outlier for them. Some would use the word frauds.
No. Everyone in Canucks thought, like, literally, I've seen comments on people saying, like, "Oh, we made you lose to the Panthers because we beat you up." So I was like, "What? What kind of like Category A delusion is this?"
Canucks fans are literally the worst. Like, people say that a lot about like the Oilers because we're like passionate or like our team, but the Canuck fans take it to another level, dude.
Well, the delusion is strong.
It's so strong. Like, Quinn Hughes is almost single-handedly carrying this team.
And even both of his goals were on the power play. One was off the fucking skate. Like,
take those out. Buddy. Take the refs out. I cannot believe he got 3 games for that. Like, you look at track record, you look at what other things have been called, you try to see if there's some sort of consistent basis for anything, and I mean, you look at that cross-check, and you can't help but look back at last year in the playoffs when McDavid got 2 cross-checks, one from behind that shoved him into another cross-check right to his face in the playoffs. That guy gets 1 game.
Well, it seems like
a 2-hand slash on Leon Draisaitl.
It's
in
just
the playoffs. One
It's
game.
so cathartic for everyone to see the person who's really good at something break. I don't know why, but like, is there something wrong? Like, because I think in other sports, it's like, oh, Travis Kelce, he's so good. Oh, Mahomes, he's so good. Like in football, they're like, we got to
But they're
protect that
protected.
guy.
Yeah.
But I'm like, so literally, we have the exact same thing here, and everyone's like, yeah, fucking kill
They
him. Oh, make
villainize him.
him.
It's like,
Yeah,
how
I'm
dare
like,
he be so good? How dare he be so good that he makes me want to take a penalty on him? He makes me need to hold on to him for 15 seconds in the final 30 seconds of a game. Just hold on to him. Drag on him. Carry him to the ground. Hang on to him. Look like a fucking tool. Like,
well, he did it on purpose. he said
admitted it. Like,
He's
that,
like, well, my only play here is just time up. Like,
that is such. And then they call McDavid a crybaby and a coward for doing that when this chicken shit piece of crap
irrelevant Garland.
thinks
Garland, I call
that's
him.
his only option. The only way I can defend this guy is by being a fucking 12-year-old and holding his leg and saying, "Carry me, Dad." Like, the fuck?
Well, I don't get, like, I get being jealous, but like, everyone is just like clinically jealous of the Oilers for having McDavid on their team and Draisaitl, and they find it cathartic to say that we can't win a cup with them.
Yeah.
So they just love any little chip they can get at, and I'm like, well, I'd love to shit talk your team for if your star does anything. Like maybe if Quinn Hughes got absolutely like hauled down at the last. Maybe you guys would understand,
he's
not
good
even
enough
the
to
same.
get that attention.
He's not even the same as McDavid. Like, who would care if?
And he's
Quinn
a D-man.
Hughes...
Like, a D-man's not going to get that same amount of, like, even if he is that good, he's not going to get the same amount of. Ekholm gets more shit than freaking Hughes does because he's a big guy, and they know they have to bump him around. But like, Bob Stauffer was so fucking fired up today. I love it. He made He made so many tweets. But like, the most telling stat of how fucking horse shit the NHL is and how utterly disgraceful the refereeing is, McDavid is 197th for the most for drawing penalties.
Drawing the least penalties.
For drawing the least penalties.
Or like, I guess
197.
Like, the metrics, if you
were
first, you drew the most
60.
penalties. Well, guess who draws the most?
Fucking Garland.
Yeah, no, Garland's like number 7 or 9.
Because he's a piece of shit.
Because he's small. Like, literally, that's what I was saying
shit.
the whole time, is Garland and McDavid are like both cross-checking, but his arm doesn't do anything because it's like tied to a little rope.
But no, I guarantee you, McDavid's would have been shoulder. He was going for like shove him down. Like, that's what he was doing. He was going shove him down, shoulder. Garland goes up.
After you
hits him in the side of the head.
After you cross-check, you realize you were cross-checking a gremlin, so you're like, oh fuck, I hit him in the head. Shit.
And then how is that?
I thought that was a man I was fighting.
How is that penalized? The same as Myers just cross-checking Bouchard, just skating at him. Nobody did anything. He maybe said like, "Hey, your mom's fucking fat." He just pops him. No, like, provoking at all.
Even so, like, you could suspend Myers for 30. Like, I think Oilers Nation said you could spend him 30 games. It would still do less damage than suspending Connor for 1. Even.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that the Canucks need Tyler Myers? No, they don't. They can lose without him.
The Canucks people are saying thank you. It's the same when you suspend fucking Reeves. Thank you. Like, you got him off the ice. Thank you. It's like, and the reason why this happens to guys who are that good, he does an astounding job of holding his shit together on a daily game basis.
No, but like, you give a guy a break. He's married now. He's got some pent up frustration going on there for sure.
He like called out Lauren like on TV. Did you see that?
No, what? Well, I was joking, but I guess it's real.
on I think 2 games ago. It was during the TNT broadcast. Biz asked him something about he got the 1,000-point bone for Lenny. He was kind of talking about the dog and like what the dog likes. Yeah. And so he's like, what is the dog kind of like? And McDavid just said like, oh, he kind of just likes walks but doesn't really get many of those when I'm not home. So basically, like, Lauren, walk the fucking dog.
That's what I mean. Like the guy is now freshly married. He's like the honeymoon's over, and now all you realize is like, hey, my wife's just an Instagram influencer, and I don't know what to do.
McDavid's only 28. Okay, he's 20
Cut the
fucking.
guy a break. He's young. He's married. Just give him a break.
This is him snapping like that and doing something really quite harmless. Like he didn't. Garland's fine. He's not gonna miss any time.
He should have just dropped the gloves, man. Like just drop the gloves and just manhandle that guy into the ice like the absolute boy.
He honestly should have. He honestly should have just grabbed his jersey, chucked him to the ice, and skated away. Like, you know, like even just
overpower him. Don't hit him.
Call it a loss. Like whatever. Game's over. Refs aren't calling shit.
You could literally pick Garland up and chuck him across the ice.
Grab him by his fucking turtleneck and just pound him.
Just horse collar that neck guard. Like,
it's just and the reason why a guy like that gets to that point is because he gets manhandled every game, every shift.
I know when everyone says that, like, oh, the NHL is protecting McDavid. I'm like, well, where, when, how? Like,
if they
that wasn't the only.
They would take a few games, actually call the penalties that are on him, actually call the game as it should be. And he would, like, I would wish we could see what he would be like when he actually is allowed to play within the rules of the game.
Like where everything against him is being called, like it actually happened in real life, not like the ref was like,
"What? What was that?" Like the picture on the ice, like the far panned out version of it, where you see the ref here. It's right in front of them.
I know, and then only when like Connor cross checks him, like, he like skates in there like a fucking hero. Don't worry, guys, I'm here.
But the fact that McDavid holds it together so well every game when shit's like that's happening to him constantly.
Yeah, like the Susie cross-check in the playoffs last year was literally like he's standing there, gets chonked in the back, and then like, cross-checked in the chops. And everyone's like, yeah, get him. And then like when he does it back, to like, oh, you're a fucking holy hothead.
What are you doing? You
like,
coward. Like,
this guy literally can't do anything right for you. Like they're like, oh, he's too good. He scores. He hit someone in the face for being mauled down. Like, holy
and the fact
shit.
that he gets 3 games.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
I've heard like why do you think of because Oilers Nation talked about it?
Yeah,
and they were like, oh, I think that's correct. I was like, what? You guys, what are you talking about?
I don't know what they were on about.
Like 3 games. Like everyone agreed it was a suspension, but 3 games is a lot for somebody in 82 games.
Like even when you look at like track record based on other things called certain ways, one, they usually take like, was the other player injured into account? No, Garland was fucking fine.
Fuck, if you could injure somebody, it would be Garland. Holy
2,
shit.
You take in context of how it happened. All the fucking Canuck people who are like, oh well, he fell on him and he was the one holding Garland down. Like that's how it started. Like, what?
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit about what Garland's doing on the ice.
And the homeless guy with the machete in Van Camp, like he was just holding a knife. And you walked into his knife when he stabbed you. That's what happened, right? Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's the same logic, and it's just like you if you took into context, and if you know that image that you sent where his arms up, the other guy and Connor's arms up, they're both their arms are up.
Connor's head's getting thrown back. Actually, like he caught it. That's why McDavid fell over, because he got caught in the chops.
They're both getting beaked. and if you look at like, okay, he's getting beaked, but he's beaking him because of all that shit that happened before that our own referees didn't call.
Well, if I punched a 13-year-old and they punched me in the face, guess whose fault? Like getting the brunt of it.
And none of that would have happened if there was a fucking arm up to begin with.
The reason why Connor Garland wears a neck guard, it's like he's a low rider. Like it's like you put, plating on a vehicle that's off road.
Just has some underglow.
So low. He's so low that he like picks up shit off the ice.
When he needs underglow.
Yeah, exactly. It's protecting the oil pan, essentially.
It's a skid plate.
Yeah, he's honestly wearing a skid plate because the guy's chin is fucking 3 inches off the ice.
But here's the reason why I'm really, really pissed.
As aside from all the other reasons.
Yeah, like I'm most fired up about this one because I'm going to the fucking game on Thursday.
Honestly, though, dude, the Oil play better without McDavid. Sometimes.
No, like they're gonna play great. Like I'm sure some shit's gonna happen. Like there has to be, and if there's not any
Oil, don't do that. Who on the Oilers is going to do anything?
There's got to be something. Like it's your captain now. Like
they don't do anything.
They have to do something, and I know
Zadorov ran Skinner. Nothing happened.
I know, but
McDavid got swept the leg. Nothing happened. Like the only thing Draisaitl did was stare down fucking neck guard.
The annoying thing is that Davo's probably going to be in the room being like, guys, don't do anything, just go out and win the game. Like, because he's that kind of guy. He's like, I just want to win the game. I don't.
Well,
like,
they should honestly. That would put an absolute like if they lose that game, Canucks would be like, oh, we're the best. We're so good.
You know what they have to do? They have to run the score up 7-1 and then just
double digits.
Beat the shit out of Quinn Hughes. Beat the shit.
No, because they'll get penalties.
I don't care. You're up 7-1 in the third period. 15 minutes. You got 7-1 cushion. Our penalty kill's pretty good. Beat the shit out of them.
The Vancouver Canfucks are going to be slightly intimidated to be coming into our barn. I'll give them that. They're going to be like, oh my.
Garland's going to get booed like none other.
He's not even worth the air. He's not even worth the air, dude.
The worst part is knowing that, like, Garland, when he heard that news, was like, like, he was so proud of himself for being a shitty hockey player.
I used to actually like respect his play style because he got to the gritty parts of the ice, but man, fuck that guy.
There's gritty, but there's still being like
that's just
respectful gritty. Like
he's not being a sportsman. It's unsportsmanlike.
It is.
Sure. I mean, McDavid punching him in the face was also unsportsmanlike.
No, it wasn't. That was actually the most sportsman part of that whole exchange.
It's not sportsmanlike because he is the captain. He should be able to be
he only did that after 14 seconds of being.
But don't
held.
even then, man, just get them.
But he does that every other time. The one time that he's
but it's
fuck
just,
you.
But you don't need to punch someone in the face. You got to get him. You got to get him like a little chicken wing, like what he allegedly did to fucking the Wild guy. Dude, the funny thing.
I'm more surprised, honestly.
Everybody thinking that was a suspension. I'm like, he didn't even touch him.
It was a very, very light clip.
That's what I mean. Like the only thing that happened there was that he threw himself.
People kept saying that he was bleeding. I didn't see any blood. Where was the blood? I didn't see it.
No, dude, that was the absolute Oscar.
I mean, maybe he's got a weak chin, and maybe it knocked his giblets a little bit, but like.
But even then, like, it wasn't even like McDavid did that. And like, if you take it to like 60 frames per second and you zoom in, maybe you can see it. But like, also in hockey, guess what? Guess what? You get hit with shit.
Yeah.
If you're standing there with your chin like just waiting for it to get clipped.
But people were saying that like maybe this suspension is like, oh well, we let you get away with the other one, so now we got to get you a little bit more.
But even then, that's game management, which is the whole problem with the refs. And that's what Knobloch was saying today. He was like, so basically, like if you take more penalties, you get more penalties. He's saying like it's like this attention of the refs are on things and they're managing and evening things up. So, like, you only get calls if you've had calls against you.
Well, if you get more goals, you're going to get less penalties called on you. Like, the other team can get away with more on you.
Yeah, that is mind-blowing in and of itself. Like, that is just game management.
Yeah, like, Bob Stauffer is like, the NFL gets it, the NHL doesn't get it. The NFL protects their stars, the QBs. The NHL wants their stars to play through the crap, all the while benefiting from record revenues driven by, you guessed it, their stars.
That's why, I think Austin Hockey was talking about. He said, if I was McDavid, I would just tell them I'm not playing in their fucking tournament anymore. And I think everyone should just because they want to frame the Four Nations around McDavid and all the people, like all the stars being on that team. He doesn't have to do that. I don't even know if he gets paid. And even if he does get paid, fuck him.
Yeah, don't go.
But that would show them hit him where it hurts. They want to suspend you for stupid shit. They want to ref games. They want to game manage. They want to do all this other stuff that's completely not in your interest. tell them to kick rocks. Like they can make, like they're not going to make as much money. People are going to care less. And like even if he came out and said the league is fucked, their reffing is terrible, and this like the player safety board is corrupt. Like obviously with different words, but like if you said those three things, no one's going to be interested, and they're going to side with him. No one sides with the league ever.
It's a bunch of it's horse shit.
They can't be taken seriously though, man.
Like the fact that like
unserious.
McDavid is 197th in penalties drawn per 60.
Well, and he was first for 2 years in a
sense.
row, and then all of a sudden, when they're a cup contender,
Oh, I guess we're gonna have to make sure the games
and it's
are
not because
managed.
they're not doing anything. The eye test, it does not pass. Like you can see it every shift he's out there. He's getting hooked, tripped. The past games with the slew foots on dry are egregious.
Well, even that, like the point that the Oilers are like the hit.
Those are more dangerous than a cross check to the face. I'm sorry, but if you get cross check to the face, just like Hyman, put a bubble on, you can still play. Take your legs out, you're done.
That's what I mean. Like the fact of the matter is, the Oilers get out hit because they have the puck more. Statistically, if you don't have the puck, people are going to transgress on you because like that's, or if you do have the puck, they're going to because that's the only way you can get a penalty is by not having the puck.
Yeah.
There are literally, is there a single penalty for a puck possession player?
Dude, when you do get like offense zone penalty, it's the worst penalty. But it's the worst penalty to get. Like if you do an interference call or something like that, when you're not playing with the puck in the offense zone, if you get a penalty for interference, it is so fucking like obvious. Like it's the worst penalty, and you'll get chewed out for it.
No, but that's what I mean. Like everything else points towards the Oilers having way higher possession times, way higher like differentials on hits, and yet all of a sudden when they're, and literally it's only the last 2 years, the cup contention years. No, because they were going through this. McDavid was in prior to 23-24 the number one penalty drawer for 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Obviously, one was an abbreviated season with COVID, but like at the end of the day, where did that go? What happened? What changed? Oh wait, nothing changed. Oh wait, they're more competitive now. Like, don't kid yourself. How many times do you think like in their entire playoff run last year would a penalty or suspension have helped them that they didn't get?
Yeah. Well, I just don't get the mentality of like, and it's like Bob said, like the revenues are high because people, when you go, the craziest thing is when they go into these other barns in different cities, and you see all the kids wearing McDavid jerseys. Like I doubt all those people flew there. There's kids in all these cities that they go to that want to see McDavid play
because they want to be him.
Yeah, and why wouldn't you? If you're a forward, you want to be like the best, even if you don't want to like play exactly like him. Maybe you like Tricep, maybe like Ovi. You're gonna say, I want to at least try and be as good as McDavid, and try to land somewhere in between. Like, why would you not want this guy to have more room to play his absolute best? This whole like Bob said, playing through the crap, like that whole mentality is so dumb. Like, there's one thing if people are actually defending him well. He gets poke checked, he gets stick checked, he gets hit, but if you're actually defending him how you're supposed to defend him, he'd have so much more room to play with, and it'd be more fun to watch than him like try and like light it up and get through the middle and then just get like hooked and dragged and tripped, kicked, all this stuff. It's like, that's not fun to watch.
Well, that's the thing is like the league is saying we encourage complete mediocrity. We actually want like low skill players to be the ones that thrive in this league.
Yeah, right.
But that's what they're saying by doing these things. Like if the rules are set up so that anybody could tie McDavid up without any consequences and like affect the outcome of a game, guess how much you have to practice to be someone that sits on somebody or grabs them or just holds on. It doesn't take that long to learn that skill.
Yeah.
You can't, there's like 500 of them in the NHL that could do that at any given moment. Connor Garland gets suspended. Guess what? You got another person that could just tie McDavid up by bear hugging him.
Yeah.
Like, but there's only one or two people. Like McKinnon obviously does his thing. Dry does his thing.
And why don't you want him on the ice?
I don't know, man. That's what I mean. Like they're shooting themselves in the foot. Or they're trying to appear impartial. But I'm like,
well, and it's not to say that like McDavid can get away with
partial.
But it's not like McDavid's out there cross-checking guys with no provoking whatsoever. Like he's not out there trying to kill guys. Like he's out there just trying to play hockey. And then it's these other donuts who are only there to be that player, to hold them, trip them, do this stuff, that are causing these things to happen. And the referees for allowing it to carry on.
That's what I mean. Like, if you're gonna get a 3-game suspension, you might as well fucking take his head clean off his shoulders. Yeah.
But like this whole like make example out of McDavid. Like, what example? He's not an enforcer. He's not out here chopping guys' legs off. Like, he doesn't need to be taught a lesson.
Also, yeah, like he's good enough that he's worth having around, and he doesn't just do fucking whack shit. What lesson are you really teaching by penalizing him?
If anything, the lesson should be, Garland, you're getting 2 games too.
Garland should have got 1 at least.
Yeah. For honestly, call it unsportsmanlike penalty. Like, it's an unsportsmanlike match penalty because you're a fucking donut.
Well, even just the fact that he did punch him back in the face, like I can't get over the fact that he just like pussied his like a little like a Oompa Loompa touched his chin, and that's all it did. But at the end of the day, I don't care. Like if somebody at the LRT station comes up and they take a swing at me, and we both hit each other, and I'm bigger, and they get knocked the fuck out, they deserved it. Mm-hmm. They fought me. I'm bigger. They're smaller. Whatever. Or the other way around. If I go up and punch somebody who's bigger than me and they clean my clock, did I not deserve that?
But it's like the classic, like, well, if somebody breaks into your house and you like shoot them, you're gonna go to jail because you shot him. It's like, no, he shouldn't have fucking broken my house.
That's sacred ground, bitch.
So it's like Garland was like the whole people try to on the Canucks side, especially like, well, that like the holding thing is whatever. Like there's still no reason to like turn around and cross check it. It's like, yeah, it is. That is a reason to do it. If
your star player, if you had any, would be, you'd say the same thing. So like, I'm sick and tired of people thinking that being a star player isn't a thing. It's a great thing. It's a great thing if you have your team. Guess what? You're trying to get the draft pick. You
have Quinn Hughes. You won the fucking Norris.
That's what I mean. Like, and the league is, the NHL has more parity than any other league in the fucking sports realm. Insane. Like, it's good. But I mean, like, what are we really complaining about here? If good people get better and the rules are set up so that you don't have stupid shit happening to them just because they're good, that's a good thing. That means your sport has integrity. But at this point, they've shown in multiple ways integrity is not the issue. And like now, the conversation isn't even about how soft the penalties were that they scored 2 goals on. Like in the first period, what happened there was like complete queefs of a penalty. Like nothing happened, and they got penalized and like obviously converted, which you don't always convert on power plays, that's for sure. But score effects is a real thing. Momentum is a real thing. And also, if the Oilers have been struggling, which they statistically have in the first period, the last thing you do is give them a power play in the first. Like, what's going to happen almost at that point.
Oh, 100%. Like, they were gassed.
Well, and also, like, one of them wasn't really avoidable. Like, a shot goes off of Ekholm's skate that was going to the boards. Like, come on. Like, these are things that... the other podcast was talking about like the cult of hockey with Staples and Bruce McCurdy. They were saying like the Oilers won the first face-off. The linesman whistled it down and they redid the face-off that the Vancouver Canucks won and shot within 6 seconds and scored a goal. So it's like there's the linesmen, the refs, everything. I mean, sure. Everyone's like, oh well, anytime the Oilers lose, the fans blame the refs. Well, like maybe it's just like Trump saying the border's weak and there's drugs coming across it and illegal immigration. At some point, there is some truth to it, and I don't care if you're a homer. You can observe things the same as anyone else. Maybe you have a bias on it. Like McDavid probably should have got a high stick at the end of the second period or whatever it was. Sure, give him that. I don't give a fuck. call a penalty. What everyone's griping about is that penalties are not being called penalties, and only sometimes. And they're
only
changing the outcome
sometimes
of the game.
Are they a match penalty? And then only sometimes are they 3-game suspensions.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm
That's
saying.
insane.
Like
3 games.
Stripes had a significant fucking impact on this game, and now Stripes have had an impact on 3 more games. Like you have to say that 1 game of officiating has had a 4-game impact. Is that really so? Like, you want to pay your superstar that's supposed to impact the game. That's what a superstar does.
Mm-hmm.
The person paid that people go to watch, somebody who's really skilled and does something no one else can. Anyone can ref a fucking game. They're the ones that should have an impact on the outcome, not your fucking referees. That's the main problem.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know where they like. And I hope when he does address the media, if he ever does, I hope he calls him out. Like, I hope he says, I can't believe I got 3 games. I get hooked, I get tripped, I get grabbed, I get hauled down. I try to defend myself. It accidentally went to his chin or the side of his head. But he was in the fight. He knew that the possibilities were there. He's a man. He can, like, he knew what was coming.
He's a little boy.
Well, yeah, but he's, you know what I mean.
He's got a neck guard.
Like, if you're gonna engage in bullshit like that, either it's gonna come from an outside source or it's gonna come from the guy that you're doing that to. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're gonna play that kind of horse hockey cheap shit that only flies, I've never seen that fly. Like, in all of my years playing rec hockey, if you did that, you'd be a fucking joke.
So, but imagine like Corey Perry just steps into Demko and clicks his clock a little bit, and Demko's like head flops back.
Yeah,
like instantly, everyone's like, "Holy shit! What a transgression! Let's kick him! Let's burn him!"
Yeah,
like,
why couldn't you just do that to the goalie? Just maul the goalie, hold him down.
Yeah, if Demko's your best player, fucking let's hold him.
Yeah,
I guess it doesn't matter.
Oh, just hug him.
Yeah, I've never seen Canucks get all up in arms about something that was like against them. Holy shit.
I have never seen something like that before.
But the league is honestly tilted very heavily against like passionate fan bases, and I guess they're all over the place. And I could say that, yeah, I'd say the Canucks are passionate, and that's probably good.
I mean,
but passion and delusion are a matrix that, like, it's like the fuck around, find out chart. Like, the further you go up,
but even if I try to look at this like objectively, like I was saying, like, yeah, he should get a game. 1 game. 3 is insane. Especially when you compare
one or two max, I'd say. Like what they do for suspensions with everything else, I've yet to even recently recall a 3-game suspension that any Oilers gotten, much less McDavid. No. Like, you got to be fucking kidding me. And like the fact that they're saying that that's that egregious, like, have they watched any other games?
That happens all the time in the corners and stuff. That happens constantly.
I know, but it's just so high profile. They're like, oh, what do I do? I got to look tough, right? It's about me.
We got to set the example. We got to set the example on the best player in the world who doesn't get suspensions.
Yeah, so basically just eat it, McDavid. Eat it. Darned if you do, darned if you don't. So you lose a game and you get cucked by Garland, who's a little boy child, because you did nothing. Or you do something about it and you get double fucked. Like, it's literally... You have like an unwinnable choice here.
But here's the thing too: if you look at how the game has been called for the past 3 games, he would have been better off just kicking his leg out. Like, he literally would have been better off kicking Garland.
Yeah, throw a skate blade at someone, because that's safer.
Because based on the calls that have been missed and not been called anything, just kicking his legs out would have been fine.
Yeah, just give him the old stinky leg.
That's the problem. That's why everybody in Edmonton is so fucking frustrated, because we just saw a horrible 3 games of not even just like little hooks or little slashes. Those you can call hockey plays, you can call this, whatever. But the egregious kicking the feet out, both LA, Minnesota, these guys all did this shit. And nothing happens.
But they're all people that had histories of doing it too.
Yeah. Which usually that means that they're on the radar. They're like, we got to look out for this guy because this is how he plays. But no.
McDavid learns how to play hockey really well, and the other guys learn how to get away with penalties really well. So it's like, I guess in the NHL, they're saying you got to learn how to be a fucking stanky ass beggar who's just going to learn how to get away with shit.
And you have to embellish. You have to sell the call.
That's what I
get
mean.
Something.
Like, this is the environment they're trying to create, and it's like, I'm like, okay, like, are you guys really sure about that one?
It's so bad.
Well done, Batman. You fuck.
Oh, it's so bad.
Anyways.
Yeah, we should probably call it.
Whoa.
Two things getting me right fired. I mean, Leon's probably going to do some wild stuff on Thursday.
I think Leon reacts to this really well.
Yeah, like he'll probably go scorched earth and get like 5 goals or something.
As much as McDavid does what McDavid does really well, but Draisaitl is the best player in the league. I don't care what you say.
Yeah,
he's strong on the puck.
Yeah,
he shoots, he scores, he can pass too. Like, at the end of the day,
as defensive as he is too, like, holy crap, he's good.
But he's a big, strong fucking tank that just he's offense, he's defense. Obviously, it really depends on whether his attitude's in it. But like, when shit like this happens, guess what? You get the attitude. The attitude comes out.
I mean, I hope he doesn't do anything stupid, but like,
he'll probably truck Garland.
Perry for one game. Like,
no, not even Perry. We just need some actual like fucking fourth stringer.
Well, I mean, they sent Josh Brown down, but I'm sure they'll bring him back up. But like, do something. Something needs to be done. Vancouver Canucks need to know that they're not the biggest fucking bully.
Run their goalie. See how they like it. Oh, whoops. Oh, I fell over. Oh.
Demko's knees hurt? Oh, no.
Oh, shit.
Didn't mean to do that.
That's super petty, but I'm also like, maybe they'll check themselves and
guys.
Be like, but that's the thing. That would escalate. I mean, it's the 4th game of 4. So at the end of the day, Thursday is the end of it.
That's going to be insane.
And guess who doesn't matter after the postseason? It's Van and Canucks. Like, that's how it ends up.
I hope they miss, man. That'd be hilarious.
I mean, they are trajectoring that way.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. Pretty bad. Gonna lose a key player probably pretty soon here. Infighting. Like,
yeah, bitching around.
Jeez.
We should just pick up Miller.
Huh?
Should get Miller.
No. Fuck that.
He's a good player, man. What did he do?
I hate his fucking face and attitude, though.
I don't know. He won like
he's
20 draws out of 22.
He's only a good player when he wants to be, and it's not very often. Like, he's just... I think he's a cancer.
Yeah, he is. He probably is, but at the end of the day, that'd be funny. Maybe he just needs to wait till he's like Corey Perry's age, where he's kind of like fizzled out and stopped being a little firecracker.
But Perry's still good. He's played great.
He can play great, but sometimes he's just a non-thing. I love it when you notice when he's there, because you're like, well, you do notice when he's standing in front of the net. He's the only guy that does that now, besides Hyman.
Well, Hyman's more like beside the net.
I wonder if like Hyman's like face injuries actually got him like standing and not being open as much as he used to.
I mean, it shouldn't, because he's got a bubble on his face. He should honestly just wear that thing full time. Can you imagine?
He still is.
Just heading pucks into the net.
Whatever it takes.
Anyways, should call it. It's almost 11.
All right. Till next time. We aren't here for a good time. We're here for
all the hot takes today.
Here for a long time. Here for a good time. Yeah, don't censor us. No one will ever watch this. Don't worry.
Demonetized.
If we ever get famous, they'll come dig this up. To all you who come back up and